Welcome to another week on the D3 Datacast. I'm Zach Snyder, joined by Matt Snyder. Matt, another show is good news because that means we're a week closer to the start of the 2024-25 Division 3 basketball season.
I was actually going through our future shows, like what our plan is, and we're not that far away from our week one show, our week one picks. D3 hoop season is right around the corner.
Our listeners may be surprised to find that we do, in fact, have a plan. And our plan for today's show is to get together with the same group we had last year for our way too early conference champions draft. Matt, we're back. We're going to make this a recurring thing heading into the season. Now there's a huge trophy on the line. I'm sure we'll into some banter about that along the way. Ryan Whitnable won the contest last year with 6 of his 8 picks correct. And that's the number we're shooting for. We'll see how we do in year 2.
It's really way too early to do this seriously, but that's part of why it's fun. We get the D3 Hoops gang together, some of our friends, not all of our friends, into the D3 Hoops world, and we're going to make some picks. So, Zach, let's get to it. Let's introduce the folks, and let's make some picks.
Let's do it.
Joining us now in the D3 Datacast, we have the same crew as last year for the Conference Champions Draft. Going, as I see them, left to right, is Bob Quillman of the QCast and General Man About Town. We have Karl Barkley of D3 Direct. And we have Ryan Whitnable of the Great Lakes Invitational Basketball Tournament. Hi, guys.
What's up, guys? Great to see you.
How's it going, Datacast bros?
Everyone's excited for the Conference Champions Draft. This was one of our best episodes last year, one of our most fun episodes last year. So I'm going to quick go over the rules. We'll jump into the picks. We'll have some fun with this. It's obviously way too early to do any of this. The prep levels vary, I think, between all of us. So it's more fun than it is serious. So take that for what it's worth. But what we're doing here for everyone out there is we're picking regular season conference champions. 42 conferences are eligible to be selected here. Split or shared champions get full credit. So if you pick a team and they tie for their league championship, that's fine. You get full credit. Once someone picks a team, that whole conference is off the board. So if Ryan picks Marietta, no one else can pick John Carroll because the OAC will be off the board when Ryan goes Marietta with his first pick. It's going to be a snake draft. So the person who goes first in a round is going to go last in the next round. Whoever goes last is going to go first. Since we're picking regular season champions here, there's going to be no coast-to-coast conference champion because they don't play a regular season. They're a conference tournament only league. So we're not going to be picking coast-to-coast conferences. That leaves 42 conferences that are eligible to be selected. We've got 5 people here. We've got 8 rounds. That means 40 teams, 40 conferences will be selected. 2 will be left out. We'll talk about those at the end. But when we're just unsure, we're unsure. We can't pick those last 2. With the rules being said, I'm going to be showing a running draft board on the screen here. Our randomized draft order. Well, first of all, Ryan Whitnable, last year's champion. Congrats, Ryan. You have earned the right to go first, so you'll be picking first. Then the randomized draft order is me, second. Bob will be going third. Zach is fourth. And Karl is rounding us out at 5th. So if you guys are all good to go, I think Ryan's on the board.
Let's do it.
All right, guys. Obviously happy to pick first, although I would have been happy to go last here as the defending champion. But we'll start in Region 8. And I am going to go straight to the NACC where Wisconsin
you're not
Lutheran brings back all 5 starters from a 24-5 tournament team a year ago, and they are the first pick off the board.
I think they were going to be a popular pick for a lot of people. We learned a lot about them on the QCast already this year.
Yeah, that was going to be my pick there at number 3, and I thought they were getting to me. So this is a tough start for me.
That brings up me, and I've got my pick ready to go. I'm going to go to the CCS, the Collegiate Conference of the South, and I'm going to go with our guys, the Maryville Scots. I think Coach Raoul's got things rolling there, and I think Maryville can win that league. That puts Bob on the board.
Yeah, I'm not going to fool around here. This is a league maybe we're used to kind of staying away from, but we're going to the WIAC. Give me Wisconsin Platteville, please. Thank you.
They're a team that's probably going to feature high on some top 25 ballots here coming up, I think. All right, Zachary.
Here we go.
All right, I'm gonna go a similar thought line, I think, as Bob here. I'm gonna go to the OAC with John Carroll. I don't think that's usually a league you might see an early pick from, just given the overall strength and depth of the league. But it would shock me if someone is able to outright defeat John Carroll in the standings there. So give me John Carroll. I feel like it would be a shock to not have them get at least a share of the OAC title.
All right, strong pick. That brings up Karl.
All right, we got back-to-back here. To close out the first round, I'm going to take out of the SCAC Trinity parentheses Texas. They bring back a lot of talent, including Christian Green, so excited about them. And then to start the second round out of the newly minted Conference of New England, I'm going to go with Nichols under new leadership in Tyler Hunley. Like what they got there.
All right, Nichols is always a solid pick. Scoreboard here for everyone at home watching where our picks are, but that brings Zach back up.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see here. I'm gonna go to the AMCC and go with La Roche. One of my picks last year came through for me a little bit earlier than last year, but let's go with La Roche once again.
Okay.
Let's see. We're going to stay in power conferences here. This league didn't get picked last year. The CCIW. I will take the Illinois Wesleyan Titans, please. Thank you.
Never heard of them.
Very good about that one.
I would accuse you of being a homer, but they were going to be my pick from that conference as well.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
That brings up me. I'm going to go. This team lost a fair bit, but I believe in their ability to still win the conference. I'm going to go into the SUNYAC, and I'm going to go with Oswego State to win the SUNYAC.
I don't have a board, but if I had a board, they would have been on my board.
Behind the scenes, everyone, Bob has said he has done no prep. So do not expect big things out of Mr. Quillman here.
I've been traveling all week, and all night I've been at a Dallas Mavericks preseason game, and I got nothing.
It's a tough life, fighting through adversity.
Yeah, tough night.
That brings up Ryan for two.
I'm going to stay in power conferences and go to the ODAC and take Randolph-Macon off the board.
Wow.
Okay.
I like the conviction. I did not have any conviction in the ODAC.
When was the last time Randolph-Macon did not win the ODAC? I think that's an important question to answer.
That's the data point.
Another pick for you, Ryan.
Let's see. I like the what is the USA South, and I will take Mary Baldwin.
Okay. All right, that brings up me. I'm going to stay somewhat regional to that. I'm going to go to the SAA. I know that there's some turnover there, but I'm going to go with Barry to win the SAA. And that brings up Bob.
I will take the defending national champions, Trine, to win the MIAA.
Okay.
No offense,
That
Calvin guy.
that stings a little bit. That stings a little bit.
Not
Are
personal.
both Datacast bros currently wearing Calvin gear? Can we get a fit check?
They are. Yeah.
Yeah, just
We got a lot of unis on today.
for the record. For the record.
Our mom still dresses us. That's why we have, the same clothes.
All right, Zachary.
Okay. Hopefully I'm not starting any controversy here. They are not eligible for the NCAA tournament, but I'm going to go to the SLIAC and take Lion.
Okay.
Oh. thought they were like my sleeper.
I did
had
think
them-
about them for a little bit.
Them as a sleeper. Darn it.
D3 Direct.
All right, back to backs here. We're gonna go to the ASC with Harden Simmons,
Okay.
bringing back their top scorer, and then to the GNAC for St. Joe's parentheses Connecticut.
All right, you like those parentheses teams so far.
I do. Little more bang for the buck there. You know?
All right, two good picks. That goes back to Zach.
Take me to the MIAC. I will take St. John's, and we will see them in Grand Rapids at the Great Lakes Invitational.
I am going to stay with power conferences. The caliber of my teams at the end of this is going to be very high. I'm going to go the UAA, and I will take the team from St. Louis. Wash U, please.
Agreeing with the coaches.
They seem to return a ton of players, so I think Wash U will definitely be in the mix there. All right. I am going to maybe just completely steal a team from Mr. Quillman there. I'm going to go to the NAC, and I'm going to pick Maine Farmington, and they're going to be my secret weapon this year.
I tried that last year. It didn't work out for me.
Yeah, I was gonna say, did they get the job done?
They didn't quite.
Didn't.
They came up short, but I believe in them
I
this
was
year.
a year early. I was a year early on them.
I think Hassan might still have something to say about that.
I had Hassan quite high on my
Okay.
confidence on that conference there. So, okay, I go twice here, right?
Yep, you for two, Ryan.
So back to power conferences. Let's talk Skyline here. I know Farmingdale State loses, I think, everything off of that team that went really well last year. So I'm going to go with Yeshiva in the Skyline.
You're going to win a lot of brownie points there from Yeshiva Twitter, I think.
That's what it's all about.
I thought for sure I could
and
get
then
Yeshiva in this round.
And then I'll go to the MACC and take Hood.
Hood is good. All
There
right.
you go. There you go.
Okay, back to me. I'm gonna go up to the Little East Conference, and I'm gonna say Keene State does have enough that they're gonna once again win that conference. They're gonna fend off Western Connecticut, and I'm gonna go with Keene State.
Oh boy, I'm gonna go with a team that I saw play in person last year in the Landmark, and I'm going to take Drew.
They were on my board. Zach.
Okay, this is maybe a little bit earlier than I wanted to, but give me Marymount in the AEC.
They're a team that's always in the mix, right?
Sure.
All right, Carl, your pick.
All right, back to back here. I'm gonna go out west. The NWC, we're gonna go with Whitman.
Northwest Conference
Yeah.
Whitman. Okay.
The competition clincher from a year ago.
Yeah. They
Right.
sealed the deal for Ryan on the last weekend.
Hoping to get some similar magic and a trophy for myself this year. All right, wasn't sure what to make of this one, but let's see. Gonna go with Utica out of the Empire 8. They lost their leading scorer, but they have an NBA program, so I'm hoping for some late grad transfers. Utica.
Utica is always in the mix in the E8, so that's a solid choice. Zach, who do you like?
I'm going to go back to the well from another one of my teams from a year ago with Illinois College out of the Midwest Conference.
All right, Blue Boys.
Blue Boys.
Interesting race. A Grinnell should be good, right? So that should be a great race.
Yeah, it should be. But I think that Illinois College has kind of established themselves at the top of that league, kind of put a little bit of separation there. So I like
For
the
power.
That was who I was deciding between. Zach's a good pick.
I'm going to go to Southern California. Take a team that had some key injuries last year that should be very healthy this year. I've been gleaning some information on them, and I will take Redlands.
I did not know what to make of the Skyak at all. I think I had 3 or 4 different choices. Maybe not 4. 3 different choices throughout the last couple of days. I respect that pick. All right, I'm gonna go to the Mac Freedom. I think they lost a lot. They're gonna try to turn over some of the roster here, but I think that DeSales can win the Mac Freedom again. And that puts Ryan on the board.
This is where it gets tough, isn't it?
Oh yeah,
I'm going to try
we're
to
just
stick with what I
guessing.
know with the Region 7, and I'm going to do back-to-back Region 7 picks. No, I take that back. I'll do one Region 7. So I'm going to take St. Vincent College out of the PAC. And then out of the NJAC, I'm going to take TCNJ.
Oh, I wanted that one. Yeah, I like TCNJ and the NJAC a lot too, so I think that's a good pick, Ryan. That brings me. This is a tough league to pick. I'm going to pick the NESCAC, and I'm going to pick Trinity. I was looking at them a little bit the last couple of days, and I think they return a little bit more than I thought that they were going to. And I think that they're still going to be a strong team, strong program. So Trinity, Connecticut is going to be my NESCAC pick.
Oh boy. This is a tough league in general. I think there's some questions about health status on this team, but ARC, since I lived there for 4 years, I'm going to go to Lincoln, Nebraska, and take Nebraska Wesleyan.
That was a super strong and deep league last year. I'm sure it'll be the same this year too.
Should be.
Zach, who do you like?
All right, let's follow up last pick with another conference, another team that I think has just elevated themselves above the rest of their conference, just in terms of their program, and that's Bethany Lutheran in the UMAC.
All right, Carl, your last 2 selections here.
Yeah, that was my queued up pick. I gotta back to the well here. I'm gonna go to the Liberty League and take Hobart. Really misfired with Ithaca last year. Going to see if I can redeem myself in that conference. And then since Bob went homer, I'm going to take Swarthmore out of the Centennial Conference to close it out.
Nice.
That Centennial is a league that I did not want to select any teams. It's so tough.
It's going to be wild. It's going to be wild. Yeah. Could be Gettysburg. Could be Hopkins.
Okay, Zach, do you have one left?
I do, and it's going to be for the third time, one of my picks from a year ago. I'm going to wrap up my draft here with Baruch in the Cognac.
They're always in the mix, so not a bad pick.
Oh boy, final pick here, right?
Yep, Mr. QCast is the last pick for him.
Go to the new Mac and go with Clark.
Okay. I like that pick. I'm going to stay with the same kind of vicinity as that. I'm going to go to the MASCAC, and I'm going to pick Westfield State. I think they're going to be a strong team this year.
Last pick here. How many conferences will not be picked? What's the math on that?
It's just 2. Yep.
There we go. Yeah, I got it.
So with the final pick, I'm going to take Worcester out of the North Coast Athletic Conference.
Wow, surprised we did not have an NCAC pick until then. All right, so we have 40 teams, 40 conferences selected. These are the teams that are going to win the leagues, everybody. We have prognosticated. We have called it. This is what's going to happen. It is for sure. There were 2 leagues that were not selected. So we did not select the HCAC, and we did not select the UEC. So I don't know if anyone has any great thoughts on that.
I think I would take the Anderson, Penn State, Harrisburg combo there. What do we think of that? Is that a decent double down?
That's where I struggled, because Anderson certainly has had the lock on the HCAC, but they had 2 players move to Division II at Saginaw Valley, and then lost another player transferred to Trine. So I just didn't know what to make of them. And then, Harrisburg. I mean, I don't know if they're losing in they had a player in the All-Star game last year, Danye Baylor Carroll, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know how many programs get a player like him, and you take him off, that seems to change things. So I don't know. I couldn't get a good read. I went with Hanover as polling of in case of emergency pick for HCAC. It was very low for me. UEC, I was leaning more towards Lancaster Bible.
I actually had Transylvania in the Heartland Conference, but like you guys, I was spinning a wheel, I think, with a couple of teams, and I honestly left the UEC blank as just not going to make a pick. Just won't do it for that conference. I really couldn't figure it out.
I think if UEC was my lowest confidence conference, so I was not going to pick them either. But if I had to, I probably would have picked Harrisburg. I think that they've kind of the last couple of years, but I was going back and forth with Lancaster Bible to make a pick. So those were my 2 names there. And very similar to Zach, as my default pick would have been Anderson, but I just wasn't sure what they were actually going to be bringing back this year. And so I was maybe then looking at Hanover as well. So what about this? Anyone, I know we just picked in order of our confidence essentially, but any conferences that you guys feel really good about, like either you picked or someone else picked and you thought that's going to be kind of like a slam dunk that we want to talk about here?
I would just, since I picked him first, obviously I feel really good about Platteville. When I vote in the top 25, they're going to be my number 1. And the WIAC certainly is one of the deepest leagues in the country, but I just feel like there's separation there. You look for, in this little draft, you look for separation. And if they're like a top 5 team in the country, it seems to me that they're a pretty safe bet to win that league. Famous last words, but I feel good about them.
Yeah, I feel really good about Ryan's first pick, Wisconsin Lutheran. I think they have a really good shot at winning the league. You could maybe envision a scenario in where they split the championship, but for our purposes, that counts. So I think there's not really a third team in my mind in that league that's going to maybe sneak up in the Northern Athletics. So I think Wisconsin Lutheran is a really good look there.
I feel really strongly about the Randolph-Macon pick. I know you guys were a little bit surprised. Hampton-Sydney turns over a lot, and I was a little bit surprised digging back into the ODAC, even with the season that Hampton-Sydney had a year ago. Randolph-Macon still won that conference with a lot of sophomores and juniors. So for me, I think, with those guys adding another year of experience and with some of the other teams at the top turning some guys over, Randolph-Macon feels like a really strong preseason pick there in the ODAC.
Yeah,
The struggle for me with that one was that there's so many teams that could win the ODAC. Hampton City winning it wouldn't be a surprise. Virginia Wesleyan, and Guilford's got this kid Nick Farrar that transferred in that's played for two D1s, like a legitimate D1 scholarship guy. That seems like a huge difference maker. So I didn't know what I was staying away from the ODAC. It just seems so balanced at the top.
Yeah. And Macon lost Will Coble, transferred to App, and Daniel Mbange, but they bring back their top 2 scorers, and to Ryan's point, they know how to get it done. I think middle of last season, it was looking not great. I picked them, and they just closed seasoned professionals down the stretch and ended up taking it home. So I also like that pick, Ryan.
I think they've won every ODAC title since 2018. I think that's the streak that they're on.
Right. I was just gonna say, it seems like since Buzz Anthony graduated, it feels like, okay, is this gonna be the year they take a step back? And they just don't. It's just that's the kind of program they have.
Yeah.
There were definitely a few conferences that I just didn't want to touch. So I applaud the conviction of Karl going on a limb there in the ASC, Ryan with the NJAC. Just any time that you could look at 3, 4, maybe 5 teams in the mix, I just decided that was one I wasn't going to put too much effort into trying to figure out. I was really trying to find either conferences where I felt really good about someone, or could at least pare it down to maybe 2 and try to do a little bit of side by side, and then give myself that wiggle room of maybe a shared title working in my favor. The SCIAC is another one that, you could make a case for probably 3 or 4 teams.
Sure.
So anyway, those were all real low on my board, and I just hope that someone else would take a pick. So I appreciate you guys doing that.
Zach,
SCIAC's a good example of a tough one because CMS could win that league. I picked Redlands, obviously Pomona Pitzer,
yeah.
Kalu. So that was one of my riskier picks just because of how deep the top of the SCIAC is.
Yeah, you wouldn't really be shocked any of those 4 ended up winning the league. It wouldn't be that crazy of a surprise there. Zach, one pick I really liked from you, kind of more in a middle round, was St. John's in the MIAC. MIAC was a conference, when I started looking at them this week, I wasn't really sure what to make, but I think it looks like St. John's is returning a little bit more than I thought, and I think that they will be a strong presence in the MIAC. Really excited we get to see them twice at the Great Lakes Invitational. I think that they have a really good shot at winning that league.
Incredible foresight by our own esteemed challenger here, Mr. Ryan Whitnable, to get St. John's in the field.
He just looked into his crystal ball and knew. That's how that tournament's picked.
Yeah. The fielding these tournaments gets harder every year with the transfers and the moving around. But there's certain programs I think you can count on most every year in and year out, and St. John's is, I think, one of those programs that tends to be very consistent from year to year.
Here's one I want to bring up, Bob. I want to talk to you about the landmark and Drew. Drew is who I had written down as well, but it was down in that range where it's like I hope someone else takes the landmark off the board. So I agree with you on Drew, and I can appreciate the level of confidence that you're going with them there.
I saw a game at Catholic last year when Drew beat Catholic really convincingly, and I was really impressed. And I think they returned most of that team.
Yeah.
And Catholic loses a bunch, right?
Yeah, right. Catholic loses a ton. So I would be surprised. I don't know if there's a coach's poll that's come out in the landmark. I don't think there is, but I would be surprised if Drew is not the pick to win it.
Yeah, Zach and I were commenting offline. We haven't seen very many coaches' polls at this point. Usually we see a couple
3 or
of them.
4?
Yeah, there's only been we don't really have a lot of information to go off of besides a few schools that have posted rosters. It is a lot of guesswork for us at this time of the year.
I love the LaRoche pick. That one's always feels steady. Yeah. Feels like they had a young team last year, and
that's it.
They just win that conference. That's all they do.
Yeah, that's it. When I went back and looked, I realized how young they actually were last year.
Yeah.
And so you're right. There, it seems like, their name is always right there near the top. And then in some ways, it felt like last year was a bit of a down year for them. They still were able to win the regular season title, but then going back and look at how young they were, I think they're in for a big year, certainly in AMCC play.
They're a program that's not afraid to play more difficult teams in the non-conference. So they'll sometimes enter the new year with a not great record, but then they turn things around in the AMCC play because we know that's not the strongest league out there. They challenged themselves to the GLI last year. I don't know what their schedule is this season, but I think that helps them in that conference slate, and they can run through some of those teams. All right, guys, I guess that probably wraps it up for us. Thanks for participating again. We had some crazy time zone collaborations on this one. Ryan's out of the country. We're coast to coast for the rest of us. So really appreciate everyone making the time to do this episode. It's been fun. We had a lot of good feedback last year. A lot of people look forward to this episode. They look forward to your picks. So thanks for hanging in there with us, and thanks for doing the episode.
Good seeing you guys.
Absolutely. Thanks for doing it, guys.
Good to see everyone.
That was a ton of fun. We'll see who the winner is, who's going to take home the trophy this year. Will Ryan be able to keep it? Will one of us be able to claim the year 2 prize? We will see. Matt, it's great to have a group of D3 Hoops friends to be able to do that kind of thing. It's great to have a group of D3 Hoops supporters who are partnering with us in putting on this show, being able to host all the information we do at d3datacast.com without ads or paywalls. We couldn't thank our supporters enough. Head to patreon.com/D3Datacast if you might be inclined to join with these fine folks and support us as well.
Zach, it's going to be a fun season, and it's people like here on the screen that make it a fun season. The D3 community, the supporters, the support we have, the teams we have. We couldn't thank these people enough. So everyone that's joined the Patreon, thank you. Everyone who's liked or shared an episode or subscribed to the channel, thank you very much. Let's have a great season, everybody. D3 Hoops, good job, team.
Good job, team.